Hello, people of the internet, it's Amanda, and I honestly feel like it's been a while since we talked about a Japanese drama or movie here on my channel, so here it is. I'm going back with one, and this is sort of weird. I still haven't decided yet whether it's a good weird, a bad weird, or a somewhere in the middle kind of weird, but I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about it. I'm talking about Fukuhara Haruka and Sugino Yosuke's Love and Murder of Sheep and Wolf. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce the Japanese title for this one because I feel like I'm just gonna butcher it. But anyways, so just to backtrack a bit as to how I ended up watching this movie in the first place, it started with Good Morning Call, so I had nothing to watch and I ended up just clicking on that on Netflix. And truthfully, season 1 was sort of like just one of those things where I started, so I'm just gonna go ahead and finish it. And I didn't really like the chemistry of Shiraishi Shunya and Fukuhara Haruka in that one. I just watched it because of the side characters that were a lot more interesting than them. I was honestly shipping her more with Ito Kentaro in season 1, and of course like Sakura Dodori. And then when I found out that there's also another season, so I felt like, okay, so I've started this entire thing, so I just have to like go ahead and finish the second season as well. And that's when they introduced Sugino Yosuke's character, and I felt like, one, aside from the fact that I found him really cute and I just fell in love with this character, I felt like Kim and Haruka have more chemistry. So I just ended up watching the entire thing, even if I know that they're not gonna end up together because they're not the main couple. But I don't know, like I really liked them in that one, and so I just ended up, when I saw this movie, I felt like, it's something that's interesting and I want to see them together on screen where they're finally the main couple and stuff like that. But the thing is, the premise of just the trailer itself was both interesting and kinda weird already. So basically, Sugino Yosuke's character is a hikikomori, and he one day decided to, want to take his own life. But things failed, and he ended up, puncturing a hole in his apartment wall, which enabled him to see what was happening with his neighbor's room, and he immediately fell in love with her. So Haruka is a neighbor, but then one day he discovers that she's a murderer. And so that's basically that. It's a very twisted story. I mean, even in the trailer, it's already this very twisted love story thing. And which sort of like makes you want to watch it, but you already know how weird things are going to get. Now, so when my good old friend Subber RJGman65, check out his website down in the description below, and finally came out with the subtitles. So I was definitely like one of those people who really went ahead and watched it, and I just when I thought that the trailer was weird, it definitely got weirder as I started watching it. So I'll try as much as possible not to spoil any of the main points of the film, obviously, but it again, the main premise is basically just what's already presented in the trailer. So Haruka's character, she's a murderer. She's definitely like a very slight, very kawaii girl who you wouldn't really think of someone who's capable of doing these types of things, but she does these things. And then Sugino Yosuke, it's sort of like, he fell in love with her and suddenly his life has purpose, but he's well aware of whatever it is that she's doing. And just when you think that, it's definitely one of those films where there's a lesson somewhere in the middle or in the end or something like that, it's definitely not that type of film. Which says a lot about many Japanese films. Like, I felt like if any other country has done this particular plot, then it would feel kind of off. but because of Japanese entertainment ingenuity, where you feel like you couldn't even imagine where they get their plots from, it's it's definitely something that you would find slightly weird considering that it's a Japanese film. However, I have to say that dark humor, dark comedy, anything like that, you just don't find it tolerable. So this definitely isn't the film for you. But if you know you're just in it for the weirdness, and I'm not saying that everything or even just any aspect of this particular film is healthy, but if you're looking for something just to pass time that would intrigue you, that you love that feeling of secondhand or even third-hand cringe for some reason, this is definitely a film that would help you pass the time, I guess. I'm not saying that it's bad, it's good, or anything like that. I felt like the chemistry of the two main actors are very prominent for this particular movie. It has its interesting moments, I would say, as a viewer, but if you're expecting for, I don't know, like again, if you're expecting some sort of like moral compass thing or something like a wistful message or whatever for this particular film, this is definitely not the film for you. That ending was also weird. As I mentioned, I wouldn't want to spoil it, but it's definitely like you would end up watching this and you would think, why the heck did I watch this? But not necessarily in a super bad way, just in a way that it's such a weird movie. I would want to commend the not really the last, but sort of like the climax of the film, because I loved, and here I go again with my obsession with like cinematography and color grading and everything, but I absolutely just love the color patterns that they used specifically for that pivotal moment in the film, and in other aspects where they definitely use colors and lighting and everything like that to create moods in the film. At the end of it, it was an okay movie for me. Again, not the best, not the healthiest plot, not anything actually, but here it's just throwing out logic out the window and just having to entertain yourself for an hour and a half or so. I felt like, I mean, if you're a huge fan, it's definitely not a must watch, I would say, but if you're a huge fan of Fukuhara Haruka and Sugino Yosuke, I feel like it's also something that you would enjoy because their visuals in this film is absolutely great as well. And again, their chemistry, so if you're disappointed with how they didn't end up in Good Morning Call Season 2, then this film is sort of like going to be a guilty pleasure type of thing. So there's that. With that said, so have you seen this movie? Are you planning to see this movie? Please tell me down in the comments below. And if you have any other films that you would want to recommend, or dramas or anything like that, I'm always looking for something to watch. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel and you would want to hear more from me, please hit subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you again soon in a new one.